Hi, everyone, and welcome to the ASPRS Mentors podcast. My name is Greg Stamnes, chair of the ASPRS Early Career Professionals Council, or ECPC. We also have with us today Jordan Hicks, deputy chair of the ECPC. Jordan, you want to say hi?
Yeah, thanks, Greg. I'm Jordan Hicks and vice chair of the Early Career Professionals Council and a LiDAR specialist located in North Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm really glad to be here today and really excited to hear from Victor. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Jordan. So our guest this week is Victor Ruiz. Victor, do you want to just give a little bit of your background to start off?
Absolutely. So thank you guys for inviting me. So Victor Ruiz, I'm a geomatic engineer. I'm from Barcelona, Spain, but for the last 11 to 12 years, I've been living and based in West Canada. So I have 50 years of experience. Let's say that 50% is in the field collection, and then the other 50% is through leveraging and working through cloud-based solutions to bring geospatial solutions.
Awesome, thank you. Bonus question: Were you in Spain when the Olympics were in Barcelona?
So, oh, you got me. I was in Spain. Yeah. I'm trying to find the year. It was like 82. No, I need to Google. I don't know. And you put me in the spot now. I don't know when was the Olympics here. I got blank.
I actually was going to Google it while I was thinking about it. I'm like, 1992.
Okay, I was in Spain.
Cool. All right. Well, can you walk us through your journey from being a surveyor over in Europe to your current role at a leading digital geospatial software as a service company? And how did you navigate that transition throughout your career, especially moving to a new country where you didn't speak the language?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when I was at the university back home, Spain was going through like a low economic period of time, no? The same way that here in North America, the energy, the oil and gas is driven. They are the ones that they drive the opportunities. For us back home, it's more through like public infrastructure. So it means that it has a close dependency on political situation. And sadly, when I was in the university, things were slowing down. So it was clear to me that if I wanted to put myself in the market and try to, be on what I study, my choice was to try to get out. Again, this is my personal opinion. I'm sure that there are opportunities inside Spain. It's just that for what I was looking for, it was the most appealing. It was outside, no? So, I was in different locations along Europe, working as a party chief, as what we know here as a party chief. The functionality and the perspective is slightly different, but it was the same work. And the truth is that in the 3-4 years of my career, even though that I was outside and I was having like great exposure, I was not capable to be like independent economically. So I knew that I had to push myself even farther. So that's why I got an opportunity to come to Canada to work as a party chief for Focus Survey Company. I was in the branch of Edmonton. And yeah, no, it was incredible. Like I worked as a party chief for the first 3 years and a half. And it was tough. I was doing like those like 35-day shift. So, like it's a challenge. But it was incredible. I was like, I changed from taking the subway to go to work to taking the helicopter to go to the site. So it was incredible, extremely unexpected for me. But working in Focus that later on got bought by WSP, it was such a massive company that I got like an incredible exposure through Trimble, Leica, etc. Everything that we know about like advanced technologies, how to utilize the data, in the sense in outside of what we know as conventionally. And in relation of the English, that part it was interesting. I think I was far to consider myself like bilingual. Like English was not my first language for sure. So I got many situations where someone in the field will be asking me for a shovel. So I will be showing them all the equipment from the truck to try to figure out what they were asking for. And then also my initial, when I was going to the office during my day off or whatever, everything was swearing because it's what you learn from the field. That was what I was getting. But no, it was incredible. But yeah, it's been nice. Like when I look now in the back and in the past, it's incredible. Like everything that all the changes and how, from that conventional survey work, how I'm right now like into like a Cintoo, no, providing like 3D visualizations and cloud solutions, etc.
Your story about not knowing the language actually reminds me of when I started in Alberta. I worked with a Newfoundland or a Newfie party chief, and he would say "la," which is, for those of you who don't know, it's like a survey stake that you pound on the ground, and I couldn't understand what he said, so I did the exact same thing, grabbing everything out of the truck, that, except we were both speaking English.
Well, that part, no, like I think, as you know, like in Alberta, most of the people are from like the East Coast. So, and also I had a lot of friends that they are like from Saskatchewan, and then each of you had a different accent. So it was like a new challenge every time that I was meeting something new. So no, it was a lot of like good stories about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you made the shift from traditional surveying, in a sense, to the digital geospatial industry. What inspired you to do that? And were there any pivotal moments or experiences that influenced that decision?
Yeah, so in relation, I will say that as soon as I got access into like the, let's say, advanced tools, like LiDAR, UAVs, advanced softwares, it was like a game change. Like I saw that for the first time that you are not just collecting one point, you're collecting all your surroundings. And you are not converting that into a plot plan. You really can convert that into any kind of like 3D experience that you want. And even from there, like you can really, the truth is that the limit is the sky, like you can apply geospatial solutions in any kind of market. So that was for me like a game change. I saw that it was a lot of potential. That is what was really excited. And yeah, I was like all in that direction. The pivotal moments that made me change, I would say that when I was in the field working for WSP as a party chief, I was always that person that I will be helping different departments. So I remember that in Edmonton, it was a GS team that was always like trying new things, like let's try this with the data collector, let's try that. So I will be always the person that, I will raise my hand and say, I don't mind to try that out and provide my feedback. So one day I got an opportunity that they were saying, would you like to join us, in the office side to provide like tech support, etc. And through like a really big project. And that was my change. It was like, let's take it out, as much as I love field and I'm having a lot of fun, I think it's time to move on. And that was like a game change for me.
Yeah, I think that willingness to kind of diversify your skills and open-mindedness to try new things is really valuable and helps with career progression. I kind of shared some of those similar traits, and it helped me. Are there any other key skills and knowledge you gained during your early career that helped you progress into your current role within the geospatial tech sector?
Yeah, I will say that like the base is like all the field experience. Like the field experience that they gain in the first years, they're being extremely key because when I'm talking now to a client or when like a new chance, like a new challenge is coming, I understand, why they're choosing this tool, what is the limitation, what they can do. Like it's really easy for me to understand the environment. At the same time, like having the back home, like the party chief position is also field and office. It's more combined rather than here. It's more like at different positions. I also had all the experience on what you can do with the data. Like you can, when you do this in the field, you can get that in the office. Why maybe sometimes it's worth it to spend more time in the field, no? All those kind of things. And also the knowledge on how to manipulate data, like how to, manage data in a great scale. It was one software that is called FME. FME is from SAFE. I don't know if, but that software, it allows you to like a small depth workflows without knowing that knowledge, without coding. It's more like a visually way. It's like an ETL softwares. It was incredible. That was like extremely valuable for me because like I was able to have like a clear picture on how to go from A to B, what is going to happen in the middle, what are the different things that you can do. And without a doubt, those are being like the skills that I think it helped me to like move on to new opportunities, no, and get people to trust on my thoughts.
We had another GIS person on here who was a proponent of that software and talked about progressing from like, he said that you should learn Python so that once you use that kind of software, you realize like how powerful it is and how much more efficient it is than manually coding in Python or R or something. So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced during your career progression and how did you overcome them? And were there any specific strategies or mindsets that helped you navigate those obstacles?
Yeah, so I will point like maybe two of them, no, that I think they are for me they're being really big. So one of them, it can be like feeling stuck. I remember like being in a position and because I had like that heavy interest on technology, I will be always the person that will be willing to let me try, like I will do even if weekends, overtime, I don't care, let's solve that situation, let's get that out. Sadly, my experience showed me that you end getting into like that, you get stuck into that position because you are like so reliable, that sadly you don't have the opportunity to grow. And that happened to me in the past, and the sad part and the way that I was able to solve that is like, let's look opportunities and let's keep moving, like I think that what everyone says that if you want to grow, you need to move yourself. So every specific periods of time, you need to challenge and you need to keep yourself out in the market or you will stuck in one position and the growth is going to be really slow. And the other situation that I saw is that happened to me is that maybe can apply more through like software companies, but maybe the direction that the company is going is no longer, interesting you because maybe it tries to solve something different that you cannot take much. So, and again, I think that the end of the solution is to try to move on. And it's really a challenge because at least for me, like I get really close with people, I met you, Greg, in WSP. So we end having like a close relationship. Also because I'm from abroad, for me, family is the persons that they work every day. So if I need to ask a favor, I will ask for someone that I'm working on right now, no? So it gets like extra challenge when you need to take the decision to move on. But it's work in my own benefit. And yeah, I will say that those two situations is what, challenges I saw during my probation and I had to do.
Well, one thing about this industry is that I've heard this time and time again is that it's a small industry. So even if you do move on, you change your career path, but you still stay in touch with a lot of the people that you meet along the way. And one of my professors from the University of Florida said, always be nice to everyone in this industry because it's so small that you're going to run into everyone again. So
yeah, without a doubt. Also, reputation goes with that matter. Not like it's such a small team that wherever you live, just like try to live with door open, try to be nice. It will be in your own benefits for sure. So that's what I mean that, it's something that it's a hard decision because you feel so comfortable that you need to move on. But I think everyone normally understands those situations. So I never had any kind of issue. Everyone was, like accepting and also like pushing to help me to take that decision.
Well, that's great. It sounds like you had some good mentors along the way. So you've worked on some significant projects over your career. Can you highlight one or two of them that were particularly impactful or memorable? And what lessons did you learn from those projects?
Yeah, so we started out, and I think Greg, like is where we met, like, and field to finish F2F project from my time at WSP. We started out the most impactful project that I ever worked on. That was the project that brought me the opportunity to move from the field to more like an office position. The scope that we were trying to do in F2F, it was something incredible. So it was an internal project. As everyone is aware, like WSP is like that big monster that it buys lots of companies. So at what point they bought a lot of different survey companies? I think it was like Focus, MMM, like I think also they got Altus. Well, done is right now what is like Geoverano. But I will say that at that time, it was like the biggest geomatic company or the survey company in all West Canada or even in all Canada. We were talking about like over 200 crews, multiple offices in each province. So what happened is that every office, it has like a different way to operate. Every office will have a different way to open a new project. Every office will have like a different field standards. Every office will have a different software to post-process the data. So truly, it was extremely challenging. From WSP, the scope of F2F is like how we can try to understand what everyone does, to try to redefine how we operate and try to standardize what everyone does. So it means that for this project, they had multiple teams. Each team, it had a different background. So we have like my team, who I was like more leading from like field experience, like, try to understand what happened in the field and what is the communication happening with the office. It was like CAD experts, how they utilize the data when it gets into the office. It was like the GS team, how GS operates, what they can do. But the project, it was so like powerful that even we got Trimble on board with us. So even part of the project, Trimble was with us, and Trimble helped us to develop a communication between field to the office. So it means that from the office, we were able to set up all the controllers from the people that will be in the field. And also after the collection, all the data was sent that back to us through a cloud solution, and also will be post-processes and QA/QC in the cloud. So it was crazy. Like it was like for the first time seeing like, working with developers, working with like a roadmap, trying to define like the product, and having the opportunity to go like from office to office, meeting like people like Greg, understanding even, how construction work, it has nothing to do with like oil and gas work, even inside the oil and gas, pipeline, integrity, and, upstream, they were completely different. And it was a lot of learning. It was fantastic. And at the same time, like having like being defined as a Trimble beta tester, working with like the access team from Trimble, those guys that were based in New Zealand, they had teams in Europe. It was incredible. It was like a dream, for someone like for a young guy trying to gain experience in the sector. And I know that project can be a little bit controversial, because I think Greg will be nice to know like, a little bit like your experience in that project, on what was your point of view from like the end user. But what I can personally say and what was coming to me is, for the first time for me, was like how, you work through like in a product, how the development, it has an impact in, what you can develop. Working with Trimble, so gaining all that exposure on how they operate and what they do. Even with Esri, I remember that we developed an incredible workflow on how to do explorations and how to move projects that it will take 6 months to maybe like 72 hours. So Esri inviting us to San Diego to expose what we did, Trimble inviting us to Vegas to explain what we did. It was incredible. Like I love it. And at the same time, even one of the persons like leading that project, like she was called Sherry. It was an incredible mentor because for the first time I had also a visualization on what like a VP level or a senior team is looking, like at the different perspectives, what operations is trying to see, what the leadership is trying to see. So a clear picture on the business, what you need to do, what are the challenge, how we need to operate. So for me, it completely changed. And when I see in the past, it even was extremely like Trimble Access, it has what was created on S2F. Like it's every time that I'm going to Trimble Access, I see all the work that we did. No, when we look into explorations and inside Esri, I can see the tools that we've got developed. So we brought an impact outside of WSP. So it was really incredible. I will ask you, Greg, like what was maybe like you can explain a little bit like from your side, like how was that project? Being deployed and utilizing, etc.
I can. Well, we talked about an after hours podcast. I can save most of it for that, but in general, what I'd like to say is that when these situations arise, big change, essentially, when big change arises within your organization, it's important to be open to the change and to accept it and to try and see like the end game of it. Like what is, often, I don't know if it's specific to our industry or not, but we are resistant to change and we don't see that finish line. And so it can be kind of a barrier. But if you can look at the big picture of things and open up to the change, which the office I was working in was really open and kind of early adopters of it. And talking to some of them as recently as last week, they're still using certain workflows that, became standardized as a result of that project. So yeah, that's kind of my big takeaway is be open to change. Don't be a roadblock, and it'll set you up for future success and future, like the goal of that project, like you said, was efficiency. So there was a lot of resistance to being more efficient in workflows, but we weren't resistant, and it helped us out. So
yeah. So, and then one more thing to add, like I think that's for everyone is listening. Like I personally like that project was a success. It was deployed and it was live, and people was using it, no. And as Greg is saying, like when you try to deploy such a big change, it's hard for some people, and there is some resistance. But in my career, it was totally worth it. So sometimes, like project success, it doesn't mean how impactful it can be for you. Like I think that there is no doubt that it brought me many, many things that is what I am right now today. So like forget about the noise, just focus on your work, and I'm sure that it's totally worth it. It's exactly what Rick says. Like sometimes get your own opinion, don't follow everyone. And but yeah, it was incredible. Like F2F is one of those projects that I think people still talking about. And I think a couple months ago I was in the Geo Week with I saw Trimble and some of the VPs that right now are inside Trimble. They were like the product owners of some of the tools that they were connecting with us. So they still remember. Like there is an amazing noise about that. So I think we did a really good job. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it kind of propelled everyone to kind of advance in their careers. A big project like that. So that's another takeaway. So when you transition from kind of technical, or I guess even field / technical to more development oriented, what motivated I guess you kind of had 3 transitions then. What motivated you to kind of get to where you are now? And what advice do you have for others considering a similar shift in their careers?
So I think that, and as I say a little bit like previously, I think that the opportunities are endless in the geospatial. Like I think we can think about like the more classic end from geomatics, But at the same time, we have like that geospatial that truly it can be applied into many, many, many sectors. So without no doubt, like I found that like my biggest motivation, it was like to try to transition there. Like I saw that where I was able to grow, where it was exciting for me, and also allow me to be less dependent on like the day-to-day operations in geomatics. Like we know that when you're like in a survey company, you're really dependent into the capital projects that you're gaining. For us in a SaaS is completely different, because like we have like a monthly fee that all the clients are bringing to us. So is we don't have that dependency on what are the projects that are coming, or So in that matter, even I thought that was even like more stable. So again, like I love it. That's what I did the transition. I still believe that is like is what I will tell people. Like do it. It worked really well for me, and I see that there is a lot of room to improve, and it's a massive market to be. And I will say that just like be a little bit like open mind. Like I think if you try to, if anything that you do every day, you're going to see that it has an impact to a relation with geospatial solutions. Everything, like from Uber driver using the app to every time that you try to like walk through Google Street Maps, or like S3D. So just open the mind, try to think about outside the box, and you're going to see like a market where you can like, bring some knowledge that allows you to keep growing and go in a different direction.
So how important is it for professionals in this industry to continuously evolve their skills and adapt to new technologies? And how do you personally stay updated in such a rapidly changing field?
I think that is super important. Like it's extremely important. And we can see that like new technologies are popping all the time, And I think that putting some examples, we can see now that phones and tablets, they have like even LiDAR sensors. We can even see like something that is being interesting during the last 2-3 years is that non-geomatics person trying to utilize geospatial tools for their own collections. It can be debatable, like what kind of work, what is the result that you're getting there. But there is no doubt that the geospatial market is opening into like non-geospatial experts. So it means that like you need to keep up on the trend, and you need to be open-minded and think, how you can utilize that in your own benefit, what direction the market is going, and just try to, like go at the same speed that the market is going. So really important. And then to follow the trends, I think nowadays like social media is like is key, and think doing a little bit of networking. So you can see through webinars, you can see like what the biggest companies are doing, or even like small companies. I need to say that one of the main reasons that I'm in Cintoo is because I saw them on a webinar. I got so impressed that I target them right away. I saw the direction that they were doing, how they were applying the technology through the geospatial. So it was for me like, wow, we can go there, because they're doing it in that phase. So yeah, I think nowadays is really easy it's way more easy than before, like with all the internet, like all the trade shows, like the podcast that you're doing, So I think it's able. Let's utilize smartly social media, and I think that you can keep up on the trends and where the direction of the technology is going, and then you can choose how you want to involve yourself into that trend.
Can you expand a little bit on how networking and building those professional relationships has contributed to your career growth?
So without a doubt, like it's been extremely important. And it goes into one point that you just say, like whenever you leave a company, like try to live in a good pace, because this is going to be part of your networking also. Extremely important. I think that all the connections that I did during WSP through Trimble and WSP, Trimble Leica, they got extremely important for me. Like they provide great feedbacks, they share opportunities, like they share, I don't know, ideas. Even right now, like inside Cintoo, like they will be reaching me because they have the trust from previous projects and what they know. So it's extremely, extremely important. And I know that for someone new, like maybe the people that is going to be listening, that new grads, I would recommend, like, if you go to a trade show, doesn't have a specific goal. Like I mean that for sure that you're not going to go to try to like buy a software or try to get a project. I will say that use that as an excuse to try to talk to the people from the different companies, try to understand what direction are they going, explain them your skills, like just try to like break the ice, trying to use those trade shows, because you never know. Like I've been in many trade shows or many situations where like a random conversation, it brought an opportunity, or even for me, it made me saw that guy was special. So I think that this is the way to go. It's also fun because you reconnect with people, and also like you get a new ideas and what like everyone else is doing.
So if Victor's hanging around your booth at a trade show, be careful. He might be looking to come work with you.
Yeah. On your CV, Hanley.
So you've been successful thus far in your field or your career. How do you balance confidence in your abilities with humility? And have you encountered instances of ego or arrogance in the industry? And if so, how do you navigate that?
So yeah, that one is an interesting one. So let's maybe think about like the people that is listening right now. Like any grad, like you're jumping, you're getting hired, you're walking into like a position, you don't know anyone. You will extremely appreciate the people that is that is really close of you, someone that you can take as a mentor, and how being working on a project, that person takes appreciation of everything that you did, even being someone new or maybe don't having much experience. So I will say try to apply that whenever you have, 10, 15 years of experience. Treat the people the way that you want it to be treated. I think that this is the way to go, is the biggest recommendation that I can say. I think that in the sector that we are, it's clear that, like, for me, any success in the product is related on the product owners, the developers, the customer success managers, like the sales. It's like it's a team work, no? So you have always to share like that success and be close to the people. And we can see many companies, and also like I'm sure that we all have some experience where we saw the opposite. So anyway, I think that like we can see that all those people's, I don't know, everyone have the same thought. Don't waste your time. They will crash themselves alone. Just treat people the way that you would like to treat it, and it's not worth it to like get into fights. Like people will close appreciate the way that you are, and they will come to you rather than others.
Awesome. That was a question we never asked before, even a topic that we'd never even touched on. So that was good.
Here you go.
Okay. So finally, I guess you've touched on this all throughout, but just to kind of hone in on it, what advice do you have for recent graduates or early career professionals looking to break into the sector that you're in? And are there any specific steps or recommended education or training that they can take to position themselves for success?
Yeah. So I got that question like a couple of times, and I think that for me to bring the best motivation and also some options is that right now, like the world is really changing. It sounds like a topic that everyone says, but even though that maybe you study geomatics or you study, I don't know, like any kind of career, probably what you're going to end working is going to be quite different than what you study. Like you just have like that good base, that puts yourself into the market. But the way that you're going to be leveraging your knowledge, it can be endless, and probably you don't even know how you're going to be implemented those solutions. So I will say that one, try to think outside of the box. Like I feel that new grads, like in the geomatic sector, like they feel themselves that they can be a land surveyor, or maybe they can be a GS technician, or they can be a plan checker, where they're way more than that. And the part that is quite incredible in that like geospatial sector is that when I'm working with clients and like big companies that we are deploying Cintoo and we're helping them to move into the cloud, is that for the first time you can start seeing that those companies, they have their own geospatial team. So imagine like I don't know, like the top electrical companies in North America, or manufacturing companies in Japan. They have a geospatial department. They have a team that their expertise is to try to centralize data repository, to start providing virtual walkarounds, how they can connect those data sets to external data lakes. And it's people that maybe has a slightly, maybe have some knowledge on geomatics, maybe they have a lot of knowledge on geomatics, but there are positions that you never thought that like a person with like that kind of background, it can apply, So yeah, like don't close your mind. Try to think outside of the box. There are like a lot of opportunities. Like we all have like different names, like titles. They can be, they can mean different things, but it may be like the need of the job is something that like it fully fits your background. So I would say that part like is I think that right now the market is super exciting. There are like plenty of opportunities that you will never thought before. I personally think that they're like more interesting, no? Because allows you to put yourself with a different people that they have a different knowledge. So there is a lot of learning there. It's super exciting. So yeah, I will say that's hard, like just try to, just think differently.
Awesome. There you go, Jordan. That's a highlight for our highlight video. Any questions from the live audience here? I have a humdinger here, Victor. I'll wait to see if there's any questions from the live audience, or maybe I can ask mine, and we'll see if anybody wants to unmute themselves. So mine is related to. So you talked about non-geospatial. I guess the industry hardware and software is developing for the purpose of more customers, essentially. And what's happening is it's switching from the traditional users of that hardware and software would be experts in geomatics, for example. And now, particularly with laser scanning and those SLAM-based systems, it's kind of evolving to include people who aren't from that traditional background of the geospatial experts. So my question related to that is, and I don't know how to word this because I'm doing this on the fly here, but what role do accuracy standards have in quality assurance of that digital geospatial data before it goes into the software as a solution, cloud-based digital twin world?
No, that's a good question. So the functionality that we're putting, like for example, inside Cintoo, without that, we had the capability to be like a data repository, and also we had the capability to provide like a 3D visualization for like all those advanced sensors that you're describing. So it means that we clearly can provide you a clear visualization on the quality of the data how was collected. So one, we provide a full visualization of your sensor quality. There are many sensors out in the market that they claim to be, XYZ. At the end, when you see the data, especially in Cintoo, that we convert the data from point cloud into a mesh, you can clearly see the quality that is coming. And also you have the capability to bring your data through like your design data sets. So it means that visually you right away can spot, like what's happening. And I will say that there are many, many, many times where we saw that one, the data is not being registered properly. So you can see like big misalignments from setup to setup. And also you can see many times that the data doesn't follow like the right projection, like the way that the control points they got set up, etc. So for us, we are seeing in the market that like non-geospatial experts, they can utilize Cintoo for like those kinds of QA/QC that before they were not able to see, And also because they are the ones doing that in their own through us, that we have nothing to do with the survey company. It also, there is no, I will say, competition, because we show the reality and then they can take their own assumptions. And that opens the door to like many markets. Like we know that one of the markets that we are working is to provide construction monitoring through cloud computing. So it means that for the first time on the fly, we can highlight misalignments, we can highlight the missing elements, etc. So, this is again, like I think you brought a good topic, Greg, like how you can apply QA, like you can generate like even a new business model on how you can compute and generate QA solutions through like a cloud solution.
Perfect. I think we have a question here from the audience. Get them back.
Yeah. Hey, Victor. This is Jordan Hicks again. So this has been a fantastic podcast. And I really, really appreciate your time. So we've been talking about geomatics and surveying and point clouds the whole time, but in the background, computer programming is behind almost all of this. Of course, electrical engineering and optical engineering for the sensors, but when it comes to the software, would you recommend any computer programming languages to learn? Or if any, like, is that a important step to learn any computer programming languages?
We thought about like Jordan as part of like if this is the direction that you would like to go, to try to provide to try to leverage your geospatial solution, your geomatics and knowledge through software solutions. There is no doubt that that's going to be a skill that is going to be extremely valuable for you. I think that we know like Python, JavaScript is being the biggest ones that they can leverage all the time through the coding. At the same time, like even like ETL solution softwares, like for example, like FME from SAFE, other ETL tools. We know that you can apply Python inside Esri. We know that you can even do like a small script that allows you to do something really simple. They're extremely available. It doesn't mean that you're going to end doing coding work. It just means that you understand how the development is thinking. It makes you for you to be easy to transfer what are the scope to the development. You will understand why the dev team will tell you this is not the right way to go. No, so yes, I think that it will bring a lot of value in your CV and also for yourself, and also helps you to have that open mind or that perspective on why and how software companies work.
Great, thank you.
I got one that I can't believe I didn't have in here in our question list. What trends or future developments in the industry are you focused on, or do you see coming around the corner? And what is Industry 4.0?
I mean, so Industry 4.0 is under myself is energy manufacturing is the biggest markets that we have, like transport, mining, and are the segments that we consider as Industry 4.0. What are the trends that we see? So the biggest, I will say that right now, like inside Cintoo, we are getting mature enough. There is no doubt that our legacy is like the 3D visualization, And this is something that clients love. They love the experience that they have inside the portal. And the trends that we're getting is that how we define Cintoo as the data repository for like every day to day. So there is no doubt that all the clients, they try to generate like a life cycle inside the software that for the first time, they can gather all their operations and day to day and try to move them digitally. Imagine yourself, being like a maintenance guy that is doing like a virtual walk around into your area. You have access to like all the objects. You have the capability to see like all the IAT measurements from the portal. And also at the same time, you have access to all the documentation, all the PNIDs, etc. So I think that the way that the market is migrating is try to generate that like 3D, that virtualized experience to try to solve your day-to-day problems. We know that we have a lot of companies that they try to operate like remotely. So how you can provide all the tools and all the information to that person that is remotely. And I will say that the other trend that it's also quite incredible how fast it's going is like they're trying to move that into like that metaverse, that XR experience through the VRs. And I will say that this is really different. Like I will say that energy has one approach, but we have also a different approach from like the automobilistic companies. For automobilistic, is more like to try to generate, try to bring them that experience with like the car simulation, etc. No, so the part that is make us shine is that we have the capability to live render the reality capture data, whereas per today that sector is always more like 3D models. So it's not like reality. But then for the energy company, we're deploying solutions through like offshore solutions. So we have like maybe different teams, one team in UK, South Korea, whatever, where all of them, they gather together in the VR and they start like walking around through an offshore platform. So this is really trendy right now. And there are being really big investments that companies they're willing to do. So yeah, I will say like those two, how you can centralize like everything. Imagine, like Autodesk Cloud, Esri Cloud, your day-to-day operations, your SaaS solutions, your ERP system inside, centralized into a place where all your people can access. And then also how you stream that through a different experience to build like a simulation, etc. I don't know if I went too far in that one.
Oh, that's good. I'll share my little story about that ties into our similar evolution from, walking around a field with a stick, tying in sloughs or bush lines to kind of where you're at now. So previously I was employed at a survey company and I realized the value in collecting, like you said, going from one point to collecting everything around you. And, at a certain point, there wasn't really a very good means of sharing all that data, but now it's changed to where you can share that data. So when I was employed there, I was heavily promoting the use of terrestrial laser scanning for as-built of sites so that we could share it using these tools and bring the clients to their sites without them having to drive there. And I had to do in the oil and gas industry, safety is a number one priority. So I had to go do a safety inspection on a field crew. And I drove out to this site. It was a natural gas facility. And the field crew was there. And I asked, I'm just chatting with them. I said, what are you guys working on? And they were doing an as-built to the facility. And I'm like, oh, what are you using for the as-built? Because I was in charge of the laser scanning, I wasn't called. So they were using RTK, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're still doing this, tying in points with a long pole at the corner of the building. And then it goes through a drafting and a checking department, and it ends up being like a blob of ink on the plan because, you can't get the scale out of it that brings any value to it. In my opinion, it's kind of an archaic way of doing things, if you ask me. So I reached out to the client and I said, would you mind if I came out and scanned that site just to kind of introduce you to it? And she said, sure. So I personally went out to site. Some of the misconceptions with scanning at that time, and probably still today, are that it takes too long and it's expensive and it's processing intensive. It's just a big challenge. but we were able to, well, I was able to go out and scan the site. Same amount of time it took them to as-built it with RTK. The only difference was, like you said, we had, instead of 100 points around the site, we had the entire site captured. And then I had one of my staff members who had experience doing laser scanning, data processing, or registration, but they weren't like an expert in it. I had them do all the registration, and then we uploaded it to, we were using Cintoo at the time, so we uploaded it to Cintoo, and we did that quicker than the drafting and checking process. And what ended up happening was we, of course, shared it with the client, and they were ecstatic, and they, as far as I know, want to implement that as a solution going forward. Because when I was on site scanning, the client showed up, and she had drove from Regina, and somebody had drove from Calgary, and somebody had drove from Edmonton, and they all had their tape measures out and their cameras, or I guess their phones. And I just thought, you guys all just wasted a trip, is what I was thinking. And I wanted to prove that to them. But the other thing that happened was the drafting and checking department had a problem transposing data from field notes and sketches over to their plan. And I gave them access to the data, and they were able to go in and see with their own eyes, oh, this doesn't actually connect there, it connects here. And they were able to correct their survey plan and then send it out the door. So that's my story about how things have changed. And I started off where you were, again, I didn't know the language either. I didn't know Newfie language, but I was out there tying in these facilities with a long RTK pool, not really knowing what this turned into, and then eventually seeing it on paper, thinking, oh yeah, that's really neat. And then going full circle to where we are now and thinking, I can't believe we did it like that, not that long ago, and still today. So
No, yeah, like it's incredible. Like right now, like the solutions and how fast they are. Like everything is like, as you say, like you just like provide like an E57, and then like in a couple minutes, all the data is live and ready, and it's streamable from any part of the world. Through like quick login, you are like bringing all your data from Autodesk Cloud, and you are like just a street. You in 1 minute you connected what was coming from the field, and everything that the design team has been working on. So it's incredible. Like, and as you say, sadly, there's still been like that transition on people trusting the technology and willing to provide the opportunity to how to utilize that. The good thing is that now the push is coming from inside the client. So like big corporation coming to us and saying, I wanted that. Can you help me? Like, what are the steps that I need to do? This is why it's important. Like all the kind of people that I bet you that they're listening, that they are the people that they are the right person to help the client to do that transition. Like they can bring the knowledge from the field, what is needed, what are the expectations to consume the data, what are going to be the issues, what are the workarounds, and this is what I say, that right now we're in the right time. Opportunities, the limit is the sky. So just look outside of the box, and you're going to find something,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was greatly appreciated. And we're just so grateful that you could join us. Are you okay with us sharing this on YouTube and social media and stuff?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. And if anybody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to get in touch?
If you want, you can put my email through in the signature of the video, and then like people can reach, and I will be more than happy to return to them.
Okay, sure, that's brave. All right, well, awesome. Thank you for your time.
Okay, have a good day, everyone. Thanks for everything.